She told me it was a dull corporate retreat, 3 days of networking and panels in Vegas. No fun, no drama, just work. But when I found lingerie tucked under her laptop in the suitcase and saw a hotel booking under someone else's name, I booked my own flight. I didn't confront her right away. I waited, watched, and recorded. And when the time came, I made sure everyone saw what I saw. I'm Nathan, 31. Steady job, nice apartment, decent gym routine when I'm not too lazy. I've never been the jealous type or the snoopy boyfriend. I always figured trust was the foundation of a healthy relationship. That's what people say, right? Trust your partner, don't invade their privacy. Well, that was me until my fiancée, Emily, started acting weird. She'd been planning this work trip to Vegas for weeks, but something didn't sit right. She got jumpy with her phone. Her texts dried up. So let me paint you the scene. Emily, my fiancée of 4 years, is rushing around the apartment like she's auditioning for a reality show about career women on the go. She's claiming it's a 3-day corporate strategy retreat, somewhere in Vegas. Boring meetings, leadership seminars, early nights, and coffee-fueled networking. Real exciting stuff. Except, she's packing like she's about to film a lingerie haul for Instagram. I noticed it while brushing my teeth. Her suitcase was wide open on the bed. Along with her laptop and a couple of dry, business-casual blouses, there it was, the red set, matching bra and underwear, lacy as hell, the kind of thing she hadn't worn for me in literally 2 years. I hadn't even seen her touch that drawer in months. Next to it, perfume, the expensive one she only used for special occasions. A pair of heels that hadn't seen daylight since New Year's Eve, and a tiny black dress that definitely wasn't made for sitting through PowerPoint slides. I stared at it, toothbrush in my mouth, foam building in my cheek like a man realizing he's been played in real time. I didn't say anything. Not yet. I waited until she left for her flight the next morning, kissed her goodbye at the door, told her have fun, like a chump, then closed the door quietly, and pulled out my laptop. Flight to Vegas, booked. Same airline, just a few rows back. I paid extra for that flexible seating nonsense just in case. Hotel? I had to do some detective work. She left a printout of the resort confirmation on the counter. Sloppy. So I called the place and booked myself a room under a fake name. Nothing dramatic, just a different tower. Somewhere I could watch from a safe distance. I texted my sister, Lexi, who happens to be the queen of both pettiness and planning. She thought I was nuts, but also completely supported me. Her exact words were, "This has either rom-com redemption or nuclear revenge written all over it, and I want front row seats." The plan was simple. I'd show up, keep my distance, and find out what the hell was really going on. I wasn't planning on confronting her. Not yet. I just wanted to see it with my own eyes before I decided what came next. Part of me was still hoping I was wrong. Maybe she really was just trying to feel confident, sexy, and professional. Maybe the lingerie was just backup for a Vegas spa night. Yeah, I didn't believe that either, but I needed confirmation. The flight was uneventful. I wore a hoodie, kept my headphones in, and didn't look up once. I saw her in the terminal, laughing with someone who had that cool coworker look. Button-down shirt with sleeves rolled up, smug face, way too comfortable walking beside her. His hand brushed her back once while they laughed. I clenched my jaw so tight I thought I'd crack a molar. When we landed, I watched them grab their luggage together. She didn't even check her phone. I had texted her an hour earlier, radio silence. She was too busy networking. At the hotel, I checked in 2 floors above her. The concierge raised an eyebrow when I handed over my fake name and said I was there for the same retreat. Apparently, this corporate group had booked most of the tower. Perfect. I'd blend right in. That night, I ordered room service, sat by the window with the lights off, and watched their floor's elevator activity like it was the stock market. Around 9 p.m., she and Mr. Smugface, whose name I would later learn was Jordan, went down to the casino. 2 hours later, they came back up. Alone. Together. Now, you might be thinking, Nathan, this doesn't prove anything. And sure, if you want to live in denial, go ahead. But you know what really sealed it? She posted an Instagram story. A boomerang of champagne flutes clinking together on a balcony. Captioned, "Late night hustle vibes." But the thing was, there were 2 glasses. One hand had a black bracelet. Jordan had been wearing that bracelet all day. So yeah, boring corporate retreat my ass. I didn't lose it. I didn't throw a tantrum or kick down her door. I screenshotted the story, downloaded an app that could save Instagram posts anonymously. Then I started planning my next move. Because if she wanted to play games, she had no idea who she was messing with. Let's just say I wasn't the same guy she thought she left at home. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of a slot machine melody blaring from someone's room down the hall. Fitting, honestly. Vegas has a way of making everything feel surreal, even when you're stalking your fiancé from a hotel suite. I made coffee, threw on my sunglasses, and sat at the same window again, just above the hotel's main entrance. Around 10 a.m., there they were, Emily and Jordan. She wore a pencil skirt and blouse like some LinkedIn motivational speaker. He wore business casual smug. They didn't look like coworkers. They looked like a couple who just rolled out of bed together and tried to look corporate after sharing a hangover shower. She wasn't even checking her phone. Again, I had texted her twice since last night. Once I asked how her first day went. Another time I asked if she was free for a quick call later. Nothing. Radio silence. She used to get back to me within minutes. Now I might as well be a spam email. I followed them to the conference wing. The badge she wore had her name and company, just like I'd expected. Jordan had one, too. I slipped into the back row of the General Assembly meeting. Hundreds of chairs. A forgettable speaker. Lots of buzzwords. Synergy. Client empowerment. Agile pivot models. Honestly, I zoned out. I was watching them 2 rows ahead of me, laughing at inside jokes, scribbling things in the same notebook. It felt like watching the director's cut of a betrayal I didn't ask to star in. Later, while they went to lunch, I ran a little side mission. I asked one of the hotel concierges, Brian, a guy I tipped extra the night before, if he could help me get security footage of check-ins or elevator use. He gave me that. Sir, what exactly are you asking? Look, until I handed him another folded bill and mumbled, fiancé might be cheating. I'm not a psycho. Just need proof. To my surprise, he gave me a knowing nod and whispered, give me an hour. An hour later, he handed me a flash drive. Said it was a small clip from the elevator feed between 10 p.m. and midnight last night. I tipped him like he was a goddamn priest handing me salvation. Back in my room, I plugged it in. There they were, Emily and Jordan, getting into the elevator. He reached for the button. She leaned into him. He didn't pull away. She was smiling like this was the best part of her day. They exited on her floor. Together. No ambiguity left. I stared at the screen for a while. Didn't cry. Didn't yell. Just sat there like I was watching someone else's life fall apart. Because this version of Emily? This confident, careless woman parading around with another guy like I didn't exist? I didn't recognize her. This wasn't the woman I'd proposed to after 4 years of trying to build something real. This was someone who was actively planning an alternate life behind my back. So I did what any betrayed man with access to tech and petty motivation would do. I started recording. I recorded the elevator clip. I pulled the screen recording of her Instagram story. I took screenshots of our unanswered texts. I compiled everything like I was building a presentation for a particularly juicy courtroom case. All I needed now was a smoking gun moment, something undeniable, public, humiliating. Lucky for me, the conference keynote was the next morning. Jordan was presenting. Emily was listed as a co-lead. I checked with the AV guy working the ballroom setup. Told him I was a content creator who wanted to submit a pre-roll clip to test how the projector handled social media formats. I even showed him a fake promo video on my phone. It worked. He let me test upload a file to the projector's computer. Guess what I uploaded? A silent 20-second clip of Emily and Jordan in the elevator, followed by a text slide, not everything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It was set to loop once at the start of the keynote, just long enough to stun the room before the real slides kicked in. I walked away before he even closed the file. I didn't sleep much that night. Part of me wondered if I'd gone too far. Another part of me, the one that paid for the ring, helped cover half the rent and waited patiently while she focused on her career, thought I hadn't gone far enough. This wasn't just some fling. It wasn't a drunken accident. This was a long, deliberate lie. She wanted the life I gave her, safe, supportive, consistent, until something exciting came along. Until Vegas. Well, now Vegas was about to give her something truly unforgettable. The next morning, I dressed in a fresh shirt, packed my bags, and took the elevator down to the conference level. Showtime. The conference hall was buzzing like a hornet's nest. Attendees filed in wearing name badges and fake excitement, everyone acting like this keynote would change the world instead of just being another over-polished slide deck full of buzzwords and recycled ideas. I slipped into a seat near the back, behind a tall potted plant that made me feel like I was undercover in a sitcom. Perfect. Jordan and Emily were seated in the front row, chatting with a few executives from their company. I spotted Michelle, the boss, nodding along, clearly impressed with whatever corporate nonsense Jordan was feeding her. Emily looked cool, calm, glowing even, like a woman living her best life in a stolen moment. No guilt, no second-guessing. Just vibes. The lights dimmed. A soft piano intro played. The AV tech clicked something on his laptop. And then it happened. On the 2-story screen above the stage, the clip played. A muted elevator video. 2 people. Grainy but clear enough. Her smile. His hand was on her lower back. Her leaning in. Doors closing. The unmistakable intimacy of 2 people who thought no one was watching. Then, not everything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Gasps. A few laughs, but the awkward kind people do when they're trying not to choke on shock. I watched Jordan freeze like someone just poured ice water down his spine. Emily stared at the screen, her jaw literally dropping. It wasn't even metaphorical. She looked like a malfunctioning robot. Michelle? She looked like she had just discovered mold in her office fridge. Straight horror. Her gaze swung to Emily and Jordan, then toward the tech booth. The screen immediately cut to the company's title slide like someone had yanked the cord. But the damage was already done. The room didn't care about synergy anymore. All eyes were on the couple at the center of the storm. Jordan tried to laugh. Loudly. You know the fake corporate chuckle people use when they think confidence will fix everything? Yeah. It didn't. It made it worse. A few people stood up and left. A few took out their phones. And Emily? She just sat there. Frozen. She didn't even try to pretend. I didn't stay for the actual presentation. I didn't need to. I'd already presented everything I needed. Back in my room, I checked Instagram. Their company's event hashtag was trending, but not because of the keynote. Multiple attendees had already uploaded blurry phone videos of the screen. Comments were exploding. People speculating. People identifying faces. Someone even tagged Michelle with the caption, "Y'all got PR for this?" I packed my bag, checked out early, and caught a cab to the airport. I didn't wait for the fallout. I already knew it was coming. Michelle wasn't the type to laugh things off, especially not when a scandal hijacked her carefully scheduled event. On the way to the airport, I texted Lexi. Me, video played. Room reaction was exactly what you'd imagine. Lexi, dude, you're a menace. Call me when you land. Lexi had been the first person I told about Emily. She always thought something was off, even before Vegas. I used to roll my eyes and say, she's just private. Lexi would just give me that look, half pity, half you're blind, and move on. So when I told her about the lingerie, the radio silence, the gut feeling, she didn't hesitate. Buy a ticket and burn it all down, she said. Now here I was, flying home, already halfway through the bonfire. By the time my plane landed, I had 3 missed calls from Emily. 2 voicemails, both short. I didn't listen. I didn't need to. I already knew the script. It's not what it looks like. You're overreacting. It was just a work thing. She'd twist the story however she could to avoid admitting the truth. But I wasn't just reacting anymore. I was planning. I uploaded the original elevator clip to a private YouTube link, just in case. I emailed it to myself and Lexi. Then I pulled up the wedding planning folder on my phone. Canceled the venue. Canceled the caterer. Put a freeze on the joint account. Then I called our lawyer, Alice. Hey, it's Nathan. We might need a prenup review. Soon. Alice sighed. Cheating? Vegas, I answered. Of course it was, she said. Emily finally called me 3 days after the video exploded online. Blocked number. I picked up out of sheer curiosity, not charity. Nathan, I need to explain. She sounded like someone who'd just been hit by a bus. Probably because, professionally, she had been. The keynote her firm had hyped for months turned into a train wreck. Their dynamic duo, Michelle's words, not mine, failed to appear, while some anonymous clip of Emily and Jordan playing grab-ass in a Vegas elevator hijacked the company's entire social media momentum. They never even got to the conference floor. You made a mistake, I said calmly. You called it boring. Guess you had to spice it up. Her voice cracked. Please, it wasn't serious. It was stupid, yes, but not serious. I was drunk. I didn't think. You didn't think, I repeated flat. Not when you lied. Not when you packed lingerie for a business trip. Not when you canceled our cake tasting last week because you were too busy. You didn't think. And I did. That's when I hung up. Because that conversation wasn't about closure. It was about control. And I was done giving her the illusion of either. She tried again the next day. This time through Lexi, who texted me. She's crying. Wants to meet. I ignored it. Then Brian, yes, the concierge, sent me a little update. Apparently, Emily had returned to the hotel with Jordan. They didn't check in, but they loitered. Whispered. Argued. Jordan looked like a kicked dog. Emily looked furious. My guess? She thought someone at the hotel leaked the footage. Because of course she did. People like her don't assume consequences have faces. They just blame the nearest surface. But then she pieced it together. Not from Brian. Not from Lexi. From a single slip-up I'd planned from the beginning. The receipt. See, before I flew to Vegas, I'd already been thinking about the wedding. Not the love part that had been dying quietly for a while, but the logistics. Deposits. Vendors. Insurance. And I knew something Emily didn't. The venue had a strict no-refund policy past a certain date. The kind of policy people don't read until it screws them. So I called the venue and switched the name on the reservation. Didn't cancel. Just changed it. Transferred the date and time to someone else. Then I printed that confirmation. Folded it. Slid it into the wedding binder she kept on our shared bookshelf. Right between cake tastings and florals. I knew she'd go back to that binder eventually. When the shock wore off. When she thought there might still be a way to spin this. And sure enough, 2 days later, Lexi told me she did. She screamed, Lexi said. Like, loud? Not just upset. It was like she'd been sucker punched. Perfect. But I wasn't done. Emily still hadn't faced the social fallout yet. The professional blow was already circling the drain, Michelle had gone radio silent, and Jordan deleted his LinkedIn like it was a murder scene, but the real show was just warming up. See, I hadn't posted that elevator footage anonymously. Not really. I posted it from a burner account. But the caption included one tiny breadcrumb, hard to call it a corporate retreat when you're retreating into each other. It was snarky, harmless on its face. But the phrase retreating into each other was something I'd overheard her say jokingly to Lexi once. About another couple. It was her exact wording. And Emily knew that. The moment she read it, she'd know. Not just that someone filmed her, but that it was me. I didn't take her down screaming. I didn't throw a drink or crash a party. I didn't need to, because humiliation, when served cold, doesn't need a mic. It echoes. When she tried to do damage control, it was too late. The footage made its rounds in office group chats, private DMs, even a Reddit thread under corporate hell. Nobody cared about her side. They just saw the smirking, tipsy fiancé in a tight dress nuzzling a coworker while the word integrity glowed on the wall behind them in corporate branding font. Somewhere, a motivational speaker wept. By the end of the week, Emily was unofficially on leave. HR couldn't spin it. Michelle ghosted her. Jordan, I'm told, relocated to Denver. Some new job. Lower profile. Probably hoping no one Googled him. As for me, I was already talking to someone else. Someone who wasn't just impressed by my ability to order a decent wine or fix a leaky sink, but actually listened. Someone who didn't need to lie about corporate bonding weekends. We met for the first time in person 3 days after the fallout. At a bookstore. Cliché, I know, but it worked. She saw me reading, sat down, said, "You look like someone who just survived a shitstorm." She wasn't wrong. I told her everything. She laughed, not in disbelief, but with that quiet, "Of course you did" kind of tone. She asked if I missed Emily. I thought about it. No, I said. But I do miss who I thought she was. That was the truth. Emily wasn't the worst person I'd ever met, but she might have been the most polished liar. The kind who didn't cheat out of impulse, but because she assumed you wouldn't notice. Wouldn't care. Wouldn't act. Well, I did. And by the time she realized that, her reputation, relationship, and retreat had all gone up in smoke. She called it a mistake, but I called it closure. And I never needed the cake tasting anyway.